Am I paying $10,000 for a dating coach? Absolutely not.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. So I spent $10,000 on a dating coach series on TikTok, and we're going to talk about it. It's like 20 parts and counting, so I'll show you the video that went viral from the series, give you the meat and potatoes, and then we'll talk about what the streets are saying.
I'm 39. I had not been on one date in 2 years. Then I invested $10,000 into my dating coach. Shout out to Anwar White. I met my fiance a year ago. He proposed 2 months ago. And now we're getting married in 5 months. So I'm going to finish telling you the iconic engagement story. After that, I'm going to use this page to help you become the CEO of your love life. But first, let's talk investments. People will spend $20,000 on Dr. Miami, $100,000 on higher education, but there are some people in my comments literally cringing at the idea of investing their money and protecting their hearts and their future love lives. So I know the cost. I literally wasted 13 years of my youth on a man because I was not educated on how to date, how to choose wisely, how to pick with intention and clarity. And that comes with consequences. Having children with someone who doesn't show up, wasting years in a low vibrational relationship, letting your emotions allow you to crash out and lead you away from your purpose, being delulu about the red flag. So as a CEO of a 7-figure content studio, I'm now the CEO of my love life. And I lead my love life with wisdom. Your literal life depends on who you choose. So I encourage you to choose wisely.
So this is Shirley. She's 39 years old and the CEO of a 7-figure content studio. She decided to invest $10K into Anwar White's dating coach services about a year ago, met her now fiance, and is here on TikTok to tell us the tale. Now, who is Anwar White and why is that significant? He's a fellow content creator and a popular dating coach that specializes in helping successful Black and brown women, quote unquote, get their guy. He often leads with the fact that several of his clients get engaged weekly, so I would imagine he's highly sought after. He's usually on TikTok or Instagram giving tips and tricks on dating, dropping gems on podcasts, and often does live streams where his supporters are able to ask him all kinds of questions about dating for free. So back to Shirley.
Okay, so I go back to New York and I go to one of my really close friends' house and I'm like, listen, I had a revelation when I was out at Joshua Tree. I have invested nothing, no time, no energy, no nothing into a relationship. It wasn't even like it wasn't even a thought. It wasn't even an idea. It was literally this trip that opened my eyes and helped me to see when it was me taking a pause that I had done no investment in this way. You see how I use the word investment too. I love that word investment. And so I was like, I have coaches in every area of my life. I have a financial coach. I have a trainer, a fitness coach. I have a business coach. I have coaches everywhere. I was like, well, maybe I should get a dating coach. And she's like, I got one. And I'm like, girl, you got a dating coach? And you know who you are watching this. I can't say no names. I'm like, girl, you got a dating coach and you haven't told me? And she's like, yeah. And so she tells me it's Anwar White. And so I go on his page. I'm like looking at his website. I'm vetting through his material. And I'm like, oh, he seems really, really dope.
Now that we know she's no stranger to receiving mentorship and coaching, it makes sense that she would be open to enlisting help for her love life, right? That is until we learn the actual details and the methods of the coaching, which is what I think is the cause of all the outrage here, on this series.
And so I started out on Match. Match was chaos. Match was wild. It was like, it felt like I literally was dating in the wild, and I quickly got off of that. Like, a lot of the men that were on that app were scaring me. And so then I went on to Hinge. And actually my fiance, Ty, he was one of the first maybe 5 people that I connected with on Hinge. But Anwar has a very unique and specialized framework that he has his clients deploy within the app that are designed to keep us safe.
So this woman paid Anwar 10 racks to tell her to go on dating apps, offer her some do's and don'ts, kind of become a second therapist, a listening ear, and then send her off to the races. In total, she matched with about 170 men, but actually made it off app, moved on to phone calls, and eventually on dates with 4 of them, one of which being her now fiance, Ty. Soon after they meet, she tells us her parents get sick, so she took a step back from dating, rightfully so, and ended their contact. And this is the beginning of a pattern of avoidant behavior that she'll exhibit for the remainder of their courtship. They reconnect after some time, and everyone is telling her that he seems like such a great guy. But she gives off the vibes that she's not really sure about him. And she's starting to look for reasons to end things, such as his level of spirituality, even though at the time they had never even discussed spirituality. So his B-Day, which is right before or after Valentine's Day comes around, he has a pre-planned trip to go on, and just ahead of him going out of town, she crashes out and tries to break up with him again, even though he has been reassuring and affirming her since day one. Anwar talks her off the ledge and gets her to spin the block again.
Okay, part 50 of how I invested over about 10K into my dating coach, specifically Anwar White, and met my fiance and got engaged within like a year. So I again tried to break it off. Oh my gosh, I cringe every time I think about this. And we were on ice for not a long time, just like a few days, maybe about 2 or 3 weeks actually. And it was actually my therapist that helped me work through it and helped me to see how I had this very rigid way of looking at spirituality. So Ty comes back from Cape Town. I spin a block once again, as I usually do, and I asked him if we could have a call. Jesus, I have the same repeat behavior, huh? We get on the phone and I talk to him about it, and about, like, you know, with my husband, my family, I want the leader of the home to be spiritually led. I want us to be Christ-centered and all these things. And he starts sharing more about how he is on his own spiritual journey and things like that. So what we decided to do was to start going to worship together, start praying together, studying together. So it actually was a great breakthrough because it brought in a new, it brought in newness into an already very new experience. We weren't in a relationship, we were just dating, but it was great. And of course Anwar was like, girl, I told you this is it. I told you he is the one. Me, still not convinced. Nah. So we are probably at this point about like 4 months into dating, and we've been on at least 10 plus dates. And Anwar is like, okay, it's time to start having the exclusivity conversation. And I'm like, I think not, right? Because my past behavior is to date somebody a year or something like that. Then we talk about being in a relationship. And Anwar was like, not in this program. We don't do that here. So you need to like broker this exclusivity conversation with him, and y'all need to talk about next steps. Me recounting this story. Oh my gosh. Am I always this difficult?
Yes.
So rather than telling this girl that she's obviously not ready to date intentionally and has some attachment issues that she needs to work through with her therapist, he tells her to bring up the exclusivity conversation. Although it's only been 4 months and 2 breakups into the courtship. All right, so 7 months into exclusivity, Anwar tells her it's time to talk marriage timelines. She tells Ty her timeline completely unprompted, and they get engaged 2 months later.
Hold on. That's too fast, mama. Oh! That's too fast.
And now, here we are, April 2025, and she's positioned herself on this platform as like a baby coach of some sorts, ready to help other women win in dating and be the CEO of their love life. So, my thoughts. Chat, what the helly? What the heliante? I fully support investing in oneself and enlisting help in whatever areas of your life that you need, but I fear this lady certainly overpaid just to be rushed into a relationship and subsequent engagement that she's clearly not ready for. Paying 10 bands to be told to hit up dating sites, set up your own dates, and report back is just insane to me. I feel like it would have made more sense to hire an actual matchmaker where a lot more intentionality on the vendor's part would have been required. But I mean, you like it, I love it, right? I feel like she would have came to a similar conclusion by watching Anwar's content because he has videos on time boundaries, healing childhood trauma, timelines for engagement, best practices for each dating app, etc. I actually really like Anwar and his content, and between him and some other creators and therapy, I learned a lot about myself, my attachment styles, my core needs in a future partner, etc., etc. And I feel if Shirley would have stumbled across him on her own, things might have gone a lot differently. So let's see what the reactions were to this series.
Am I paying $10,000 for a dating coach? Absolutely not. Now, this is no shade to the lady who said she invested $10K in a dating coach. She met her now fiance on Hinge, I think she said, and within a year, now they're engaged. That's not going to be everybody's story. I cannot invest that amount of money into something like a dating coach because it's not guaranteed. I know that when I invest into a trainer, right, they can guarantee if you eat this, if you work out this many times, and if you do this with me, you'll lose this amount of weight. That is a guarantee if I follow the plan, right? It may not be a guarantee that if I invest 10K with this dating coach that I'm going to find my man or my partner in a year. Maybe it takes 2 years. Maybe it takes 3 years. I could be on dating apps and doing all this stuff, taking his advice, and the man that's for me could be in Arizona. Like, it's no guarantee. Did it work out for her? Yes. Is that going to be everybody's story? No. Can I invest 10K on a chance, on like a maybe possibly once this dating coach cycle is over, you'll have somebody. I can't invest 10K on a maybe.
Do y'all think that lady needed to spend $10,000 on a dating coach? At first, I thought she got scammed, but after watching 20 parts of her 20-some-odd part story, I think she needed a dating coach. Now, should she have spent $10,000? I'm not quite sure about that. But the type of stuff that she was saying in her videos, it made no sense. She absolutely, like she said, did not know how to date, never learned how to date, and basically tried to dump the dude twice and spent the block, and he kept taking her back. Not only did she spend the block twice, he called her unstable, and that was the reason why he didn't initially ask her to be exclusive. She had to ask him whether they were going to be exclusive or not. Not only did he think that she was unstable, but she then sent him a list and a timeline of when she actually wanted to get engaged, get married, and have a kid. The part I don't like is that she's online acting like, ooh, Anwar is so good because I got engaged in under a year. You told that man you needed to be engaged under a year. And he basically chose the ultimatum to marry you. Now, these people are not married yet, and they're supposed to be getting married within the next month or so because they're supposed to be having a spring marriage. But to me, it sounds like she did all of the work. And one of the main things that she said was a problem for her was that she didn't want to do online dating. I really think that she could have found this same man if she would have got on the dating apps without the $10,000. But geez Louise, I get setting boundaries and all of that. But having to tell a man a timeline of when you want to get married, when you want to have kids, when all of this stuff, and then he has to take the ultimatum, I don't know. That's not something I would flex about, but good for her. She got her man, but I definitely wouldn't follow that advice. If that's the advice that Anwar is giving out, I wouldn't follow that advice. I'm married, so I don't need to follow that advice, but if I had to start over, I'm not paying $10,000 for that.
Regarding the story of the woman who invested $10,000 into a dating coach, there is definitely a crazy component to the story. However, to me, it is not the actual investment of $10,000. If you want to improve your mental health, you will hire and see a therapist weekly, if not bi-weekly. And there are a lot of therapists who don't take insurance. So that monthly bill is going to add up to $10K pretty quickly. If you want to improve your health, you go to the gym. And people are spending hundreds of dollars a month on gym memberships. That $10K is getting hit pretty quickly. If you want to improve your career outlook, you will hire a career coach. And they can be expensive as well. So to me, spending $10K to improve your dating outcomes is not far-fetched and not crazy. Even her coming on this app and sharing her story as an attempt of what I think is her trying to monetize this experience isn't the crazy part to me, because plenty of people hop on this app with their life stories in the attempt to monetize off of it. So how is she any different for real? The crazy part of all this to me is the video of her fiance saying, please tell your audience that I had no idea you spent all that money for us. That is absolutely crazy to me. No CeeLo Green. Him wanting the world to know that her investment was one-sided and that he had no idea about it does not signify a union and does not signify partnership to me at all. Because even if he had no prior knowledge to her doing that, y'all are about to be married, which is two people becoming one. Is this not the time for the agree in public and disagree and discuss in private dynamic to begin happening? Or B, just saying that you're glad she did it because it made y'all's bond all the more stronger and better. But for you to make a point to want the world to know that you had no idea not only signifies individuality in a partnership, but it then calls for the audience to question, was that investment worth it? Because investing $10,000 into improving your dating experience, all to end up with somebody who doesn't even want to stand with you in this moment in that way. Hey.
I want to see the $10,000 man. And nobody tell me nothing about it not being my fucking business. The main reason she on this app talking about how she spent $10,000 and leads with $10,000 and got a ring within a couple of months is because she is trying to monetize. If you are going to monetize your dating experience, then show us the result. Show us the man you paid 10 bands for. Mind you, you met him on Hinge. Just like the rest of us met our men on Hinge. So I want to see what exactly $10,000 got you. That's all I'm asking for. You on there talking about, you know, I invested $10,000 in how to be the CEO of your life. I am hearing the keywords, okay? And you're hashtag entrepreneur. I hear the keywords. She is getting to 10,000 followers and she is going to monetize. That's why there's 20 parts, confusingly, about how you invested $10,000 to meet this man. She's trying to get money. So if you're gonna get money, at least show us what you're spending it on.
So as the last person said, it's obvious Shirley was hoping to go Risa Tisa viral and monetize off of this series, but instead, everyone just kind of thinks she's a fool. Anyways, I wish her and her fiance the best. I think they're due to get married in a few months. So I'm glad that she got what she feels is a good return on investment. You know, 10K is clearly nothing to sneeze at, and obviously she had the money, so good on her. So let me know what you all think of this conversation. Did you watch the series? Are you familiar with Anwar White and his content? Would you invest 10K in a dating coach to find the one? Let's have a conversation in the comments below. Like and share if you enjoyed this content, and I'll be back with the new What Took TikTok real soon. Bye.